Vamos a grabar aquí. Y muy buenos días, buenos días. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. ¿Cómo están todos? How's everybody? ¿Bien?
Bien,
Bien,
gracias. Bien, gracias.
Excellent, excellent. We're going to have a few people watching who are out doing other stuff today that they, cannot get around. Boy, I know that feeling. I had the fateful car appointment and I got a new crown. Yay. Last week was like, yeah, not my stellar week. Actually, the crown went surprisingly well. Better than when is that? The dentist went better than the car repair. Yeah. Wow. Okay. But don't get me started. Okay. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? What are we going to do? We're going to practice with some of these adjectives today, para que sepan, so you know. And, vale, bueno. Primero vamos a, we're going to dive right into that. I do want to show you, though, which, if you are the type who likes to pull up the screen at the same time. Okay, here we go. This list of a bunch of the words with examples. And gracias, Marcos. Thank you, Marcos, for that suggestion because it was good. At the end of that, set of examples, we had a set of questions. And since we are a somewhat smaller group today, I think we can kind of work with the whole big group. But this is the, if you like to pull up the screen, or if you printed it off and you need those questions, just that you can grab those. Bueno, ¿qué creen ustedes? What do you think, guys? We can do this all as the big group rather than going up to, smaller group. I think we can today because we've got a smaller group. We've got some people out. But I will bring up that group of vocabulary words. So we had 12 questions with that. And these are, a lot of these words are more advanced kinds of adjectives. So we're going to go over again como repaso, as a review, because they're bigger words. Well, some of them are. We may need practice pronouncing them. We've got adaptable, see, or flexible. And obviously we've pulled out 12 of these is the ones we're going to focus on. Affable. Yeah. The hard thing to remember is that we don't want to say affable, right? There are no silent E's with Spanish, so make sure you're pronouncing all the letters you need to pronounce, which means, unless it's a strange GUE or GUI thing, you're going to pronounce them all. Or, H. We don't pronounce the H's, of course, unless this is CH. Ambicioso, sí. Amigable. And, amigable. And it's got amigo buried within it, so that's easy to remember. Amigable, right? Brillante. We've got a cognate in English, so that helps us. Brillante, right? De mente abierta, but some people really do shorten that to just abierto. Abierto, open, right? A person who is open is someone who is, talkative. They are free to discuss things with you, right? Meticuloso, that concienzudo, I know you have as like a tag on or a synonym, but meticuloso is probably the easier one for you to pronounce and the easier one for you to use. Meticuloso. And our English word that's like that is meticulous, right? Somebody who really pays attention to details is meticulous. Meticuloso. Okay. Honrado. Here is one of our words. Honrado. Here's one of our words with an H that we don't pronounce. So the hard thing for us as English speakers is to remember that H's go silent all the time unless they're a CH combination. So honrado. Honrado is somebody who is honest, who is sincere, who always, tries to always do the right thing. Cortés, courteous, polite. Okay. Sometimes, as the word polite, you hear the people using the word educado, which sounds like educated, but educado, it can mean educated, but educado means polite, and cortés means polite. Cortés is an easier word to remember because it's shorter. And cortés looks a little bit like courteous, right? So again, we've got a cognate that helps us. Cortés. Decisivo, decisive, somebody who makes up their mind and they do something, okay? Bien? They don't have to think real long about it. Determinado, determined. And that looks like it comes from determined. Determinado. Okay, those longer words are the ones that are harder for us to pronounce often. Determinado. Diplomático, we've got a direct cognate there. Diplomático, diplomatic, right? Despreocupado is carefree, kind of don't worry about anything, yeah? Preocupado, without the des in front of it, preocupado means worried. You're concerned, that you're worried. Preocupado, right? So when we put a des in front of it, it means you're not worried. You're not sweating it, okay? Despreocupado, carefree, easygoing, don't worry about stuff. Preparada or preparado, right? You could go to a masculine form. Preparado, a person who is well prepared, somebody who is proficient, they're capable. Preparado. Franco, we have the word frank, yeah? And somebody who is very direct and honest is franco. Entusiasta, this is a common word. Entusiasta is somebody who is enthusiastic. Yeah? Okay. Intuitivo, intuitive, right? Inventivo, inventive. Okay. Modesto, this is a great word. Modesto is modest, somebody who's not tooting their own horn all the time. Yeah. Somebody who does not brag a lot about themselves is modesto. Okay. We have a word modest, and sometimes we use it in the same way, right? Somebody is modest. They don't talk about themselves all the time. Habilidoso, here's another one where we have to ignore the H. Habilidoso, someone who is skilled, okay? Habilidades are abilities, habilidades, or habilidoso, right? Plácido, this is really useful. Plácido is placid. Okay. Think about a still water of a lake that isn't moving. Yeah, that's plácido. Okay. Proactive, somebody who gets in there and works on something before it becomes a problem is proactivo. Audaz, someone who is daring or bold. There are other words for daring or bold. Atrevido comes to mind. Atrevido, you often hear people use atrevido as daring. But audaz is a nice word because it's a very short word and it's a very high level kind of word. Audaz. And that one, we have to pronounce that together. Audaz. Yeah. Ow. Ow. We have some words like audit. Yeah, but then we kind of alter how we say audit, AU, or auditory, right? But AU in Spanish becomes ow. And you do need to pronounce both of those vowels together. Yeah, ow, audaz, audaz. And audaz, we punch the as at the end. Audaz, audaz. Ingenioso, and we've got a little video that's going to use that word ingenioso after we do some practice. Ingenioso. We've got a word in English which is almost exactly the same. Ingenioso means yeah, in English, we have a word ingenious. Yeah, and that comes from the same root in Latin long, long ago. But ingenioso means resourceful, somebody who can do a whole lot with very little to work with. Yeah. Ingenioso, somebody who is resourceful. And versátil. Versátil, we've got versatile, right, in English. Versátil, something that can be used for lots of different things, something that has more than one use. Versátil. Okay, bien. Vale, okay.
Marilyn, a question on that. Just trying to see the endings, if that helps us know it's like an adjective, or, they don't all end in the O. You know how like our English.
Oh, are there things that help you figure out that it's an adjective? Oh, and I think she's got a blip. Okay. There are some suffixes. Suffixes are little parts of words, portions of words. Suffixes are little things we stick on the end of a word. And some suffixes do tell us adjective, like this OSO in ingenioso. OSO is a lot like OUS. I'll give you another example with OSO. It's actually a very good question. OSO often tells you I'm an adjective. Another word that would have an OSO ending on would be something like religioso, religioso, oso. Religioso would be religious. Okay. OUS, religious. OUS in English says adjective. And OSO, and of course it may adapt to OSA, also tells you I'm an adjective, OSO. That the AS and AUDAS sometimes is adjective. The Evo proactivo, yeah, adjective. Some of these are IVO, IDO, things like that. Here's another also, habilidoso, yeah. Yeah, IVO again, inventivo, proactivo. Sometimes when you look for little endings, that is helpful. Just on the might not help, but ADO, IVO. Okay, let me put some of those together a little bit. And we'll have this on the recording. So I think Carrie had a little Wi-Fi issue, but she'll probably watch this and come back to it. So, vamos a ver. How can you know that something is an adjective? Well, the same answer is that you can't always know, right? But Evo, like activo, inventivo, that might be something telling you, hey, I'm an adjective. Also is a little bit like our word our suffix ous. Ido, and it's got kind of a companion suffix ado. Those are suffixes that sometimes indicate to you that this is a describing word. It is an adjective. So that might help you. Sometimes equal. Yeah, it's hard to have a blanket kind of thing to help you with adjectives, but certain, oh yeah, you know what? Hable, or sometimes it's ible. Those kind of things are often suffixes that wind up telling you I'm an adjective, I'm a describing word. Okay.
Marilyn, may I ask you a question?
CC.
Yeah, online, when it's a Cortés, it talks about a waitress, but it does not have to agree in the feminine, right? With that word.
And the word entusiasta, you mean?
No,
Which
Cortés.
word?
It says on number 9 where it's courteous, and it talks about a waitress is courteous, and that's a female.
Cortés. Okay.
It just stays Cortés, whether it's a
It
female or
stays
male.
Cortés. And let's look
Okay.
at that. That's actually a very good question before we start our practice. This stays the same, whether it is masculine or feminine. And that is a good question. Cortés does not change to a feminine form. That is because it is an adjective that does not end in o, o or a. Okay, so rojo, roja,
Okay.
alto, alta. See, adjectives that do not end in o, unless they are nationalities, there are a few exceptions. Unless it's a dor, D-O-R, or unless it's a nationality like francés, inglés, español, unless they're nationalities, adjectives that do not end in o stay the same for the masculine and feminine form.
Thank you.
Waitress would be una mesera cortés. Una mesera cortés, a courteous waitress. Okay, una mesera cortés, and we would not make that cortesa.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gracias.
it stays the same. So adjectives that do not end in an o or an a. And so that means if the adjective ends in an a, like interesante or importante. Yeah. If it ends in an S, if it ends in any other letter, a Z or an L, like I'll give you another, like we've got a word leal. Leal means loyal, right? Somebody will stick through to you through thick and thin. Leal doesn't get a feminine form because it's an adjective that doesn't end in o. So it uses the same word for masculine and feminine, just like Cortés uses the same word for masculine and feminine. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And that doesn't happen. You don't hear those all the time. You hear those once in a while. There's probably a larger number of adjectives that do end in an o or an a, but we have a lot of adjectives that end in an e. like interesante, importante, imposible, posible, right? So even if they end in an E, that letter E, as we know it in English, which is called E in Spanish, it won't flip into a feminine form. It'll just be E by itself. Same for masculine, same for feminine, same for feminine. Buena pregunta. Really, really good question. Okay. A ver. Y adelante, adelante. Otra pregunta. Any other question before we have our little questions I gave to you for your practice or no? Those are good questions. Okay, vale. Bueno, vamos a practicar un poquito. And I want you to jump in and give your ideas. And I only get a small window version of you guys. So if you're raising your hand, I may not see you. It doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. So please speak up if you want to plug something in. ¿Conoces a una persona muy amigable? Do you know a real friendly kind of person? Oh, ¿quién es? Who is it?
Mhm.
You need an
Mi representante de boletos con los Diamondbacks es muy amigable.
Bien, ok. ¿Y por qué qué hace que es amigable? What does that person do that makes them amigable?
I don't think I can answer in Spanish. They just respond quickly to all kinds of requests.
Okay.
Got popped out.
Responde rápidamente
The internet was turned on.
cuando tenga una pregunta, cuando tengo una pregunta, responde inmediatamente, muy rápidamente. Bien, bien, fantástico. Ok, vale. Bueno, Cindy, ¿quién es amigable?
mi esposo es muy amigable. Todos los días.
Todos, qué fantasía, todos los días. Entonces, tu esposo hace muchas cosas en la casa para ayudar.
Sí. Él limpia
¡Wow! Limpia. ¡Wow!
casa y cocina también.
¡Wow!
Ujú.
Eso es fantástico. Ok.
Mm.
¿Quién más? Who else has something? ¿Quién es amigable? Alguien amigable. Somebody friendly like that you know about. ¿Quién es amigable?
Ese persona es mi hijo Edwin.
Es amigable.
Sí.
Ok. Bien. Una persona amigable, por ejemplo, muchas veces habla con todos. Una persona amigable habla con todos, ¿sí? Una persona amigable ayuda a otras personas, ¿sí?
Sí.
Una persona amigable es simpático con todos, es simpático, muy simpático, very, very nice, ¿sí? ¿Sí? Ok. Otra persona, ¿conoces a alguien muy amigable? Do you know somebody really, really friendly? ¿Quién es?
Mhm. Mis nuevos vecinos enfrente son muy amigables.
Amigables, and there you had to use a plural, amigables. So with amigable, we do have to make it, we don't have to make it feminine or masculine. It's the same for both, but we do need to make it plural. ¿Sí? Mis vecinos son amigables. Bien. Bien, ok. Todas las personas en la oficina de mi dentista son amigables. La semana pasada, yo fui al dentista y todas las personas en la oficina del dentista son amigables, que es tan importante, ¿no? Porque causa estrés. Estar en la oficina del dentista causa estrés, ¿no? Causa estrés, ¿sí? It causes stress, causa estrés. Y las personas son amigables. Ok. Siguiente. Aquí. ¿Quién es muy flexible o adaptable? ¿Y por qué es flexible? ¿Quién es flexible? And we could talk about flexible as with our muscles, or we can use flexible with our personality, right? Adaptable, we can't really use with muscles, but para que sepan, so you know, if you want to talk about somebody who is very flexible, like manually, you know, whatever, we can use that word flexible too. ¿Quién es muy flexible o adaptable?
I'll go.
¿Qué?
Mi amiga MJ es también muy flexible porque ella es despreocupada.
Es despreocupada, carefree, es flexible, ¿ok? Entonces, tu amiga puede hacer muchas cosas cuando ustedes van a otros lugares, ¿sí? Ok. Muy adaptable, muy flexible. ¿Quién tiene otra opción? Who has another option here?
I have one. Mi madre es flexible porque cuida a mis hijos.
Oh, cuida a tus hijos. She takes care of?
Yes.
That word is cuida. That's a hard word to pronounce.
Cuida.
Cuida. Cuida. She takes care of. Cuida a tus hijos. Oh, sí. Entonces, ella es muy flexible. Es importante ser flexible con los niños, ¿no? Es importante ser adaptable con los hijos. Fantástico. Buena respuesta. Good answer. Bueno, ¿qué más?
Marilyn, I have a weird one here.
Okay.
And I had to look it up, and I still can't believe this is the translation.
Okay, vamos a ver. We'll see.
So let me say in English first what I was trying to look up or get in here, okay?
Bien.
The quarterback on an American football team must be very flexible. And the translation I got for a quarterback was El Mariscal de Campo de Fútbol Americano. Es muy flexible.
Okay, sí. Bien. El término quarterback es difícil para español. There are a lot of people who just actually, I think there's a higher percentage of people when they talk about a person who does this part of the sport, right? To just borrow that word, quarterback.
Wow. Well, el quarterback de fútbol americano es muy flexible.
Eso, sí. El quarterback es de fútbol americano, and you might want to add de fútbol americano, right? So they know you don't mean football, because when people hear fútbol, they think soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah. So fútbol americano, okay, then they know you don't mean soccer. El quarterback. Most people have adopted that word just because there really isn't a good way to translate it. Yeah. Some words wind up getting adopted. I'm going to give you another example. And this happens a lot. It happens more with technology, but it happens sometimes with sports. So, with technology, people will say software, and that's it. There really is no translation for the word software. Okay. Another word that often is just borrowed is click, like hacer click on this is do a click, hacer click. It just says that way. Yeah. A lot of people, I don't know if this is more Mexican or Spanish. I'm going to have to pay better attention. The word tip. A lot of people, like, I'll give you a tip about this. A lot of times people are just borrowing that word tip. Even though there actually is a perfectly good Spanish word, but, you'll hear that used. So, okay. Sí. Y, Marcos, tu ejemplo, un quarterback, sí, de fútbol americano, tiene que ser muy flexible. That's an example of, we could mean that mentally or physically, right? See, un quarterback tiene que adaptar durante el partido. He's got to adapt during the game. Tiene que adaptar también mentalmente y físicamente flexible también. Eso, fantástico. Otro ejemplo con flexible o adaptable. Any other example with adaptable or flexible?
I can do one. Mis mejores amigas son flexibles porque ellas son retiradas.
Your last word again? Son?
Retired, retiradas.
Oh, okay.
I say that wrong, probably.
Retiradas, yeah, retired. Jubiladas is another word we use a lot for retired. Jubilada. But you can use retirados, but jubilados. Jubilado. Or ADA if they're all gals. Jubiladas, retired. You might hear retiradas, although retirar also has a meaning of withdrawn. So jubiladas means don't have to work. People are know that. Okay. Bien. Bueno, otro ejemplo con flexible o adaptable. Anything else you want to add? For an example? Un ejemplo.
Does it work if I say mi hija es flexible porque es gimnasta?
Es gimnasta. Sí, excelente. Muy bien, sí. Es gimnasta. She's a gymnast. Tu hija es flexible físicamente. Sí, muy flexible porque es gimnasta. She's a gymnast. Excelente. Bueno, mi hijo ahorita, right now, no es muy flexible porque se lastimó la espalda. Se lastimó la espalda. He hurt la espalda.
Fine.
Sí, porque se lastimó la espalda. Ahora no es muy flexible. Ok, bien, excelente. Bueno, ok. Siguiente. ¿Conoces a una persona abierta? ¿Conoces a una persona abierta? Por ejemplo, mi cuñada, la hermana de mi esposo. ¿Qué es cuñada? La hermana de mi esposo.
Brother-in-law.
Sister-in-law, ¿sí? Mi cuñada. Mi cuñada, ella vive en Chicago. Mi cuñada es una persona muy abierta. Ella tiene muchos amigos de otras culturas. Ella tiene muchos amigos de otras culturas, como por ejemplo, ella tiene amigas de India, de Delhi, en India. Ella tiene amigos de China. Sí, ella tiene amigos de Inglaterra. Ella tiene amigos de Alemania. Entonces, ella es una persona muy abierta. ¿Bien? Ok. Otra idea con abierto, abierta.
I have one.
Yeah.
Yo conozco Patty es abierta.
Bien. Es abierta. Ok. Bueno.
¿Por qué? I can't put it into words.
No, give it a try.
Okay.
No.
Just okay. Abierta con persona.
Ok. Ella, por ejemplo, ella habla de sus sentimientos, feelings.
Yes.
Habla de su, una persona abierta habla de sus sentimientos. Una persona abierta tiene interés en otras personas que son diferentes.
Sí.
¿Sí? Bien. Una persona abierta acepta a todos tipos de personas. Acepta a todos, accepts everybody. Una persona abierta, ¿sí?
Sí.
Una persona abierta muchas veces trata de o prueba muchas cosas. They try many different things, ¿sí? Prueban muchas cosas nuevas. They try new things, ¿sí? Ok. ¿Bien?
Sí. Yes.
Ok. Excelente. Ok. Siguiente o no? Next one or not?
I've got one.
Oh,
for this.
ok. Bueno, sí, Cindy.
Sí, mi amiga Judith vive en Atlanta and is muy abierta. Ella trabaja en Emory University con los estudiantes.
Bien. Entonces, ella tiene experiencias con estudiantes de muchos países.
Sí.
Sí. Y de muchas edades, many different ages. Sí. Bien. Ok. Es buena característica la característica de ser una persona abierta es importante cuando trabajas con el público. Cuando trabajas con el público, when you work with the public, sí, en general. Es buena cosa ser abierto o abierta. Bien, okay. And we even use this word abierto, obviously, to talk about when physical buildings are open or closed, right? So you'll hear abierto to talk about people who are open and accepting, or to talk about places that are open. Okay, como por ejemplo, el supermercado está abierto, supermarket is open. El correo, the post office, sí, está abierto, is open, but then it will be está abierto. So there's a difference between estar abierto, then it's in a state of being opened up, physically opened up, yeah. But soy abierta means I'm an open person, yeah. I can't be open for business. Right? People who are open, meaning they accept and they experience, they like to experience many different things. We use ser with abierto, okay? And with a place being physically open, it'll be not ser, but estar abierto, okay? Bien? Okay. Because abierto, open for a store or an actual physical place, is a state that is changeable, opened or closed, open or closed, right? But when you talk about a person being open, that means they are accepting of new experiences, and you're explaining what their personality is always like, yeah? So what if they're always an open and always an accepting person es abierto, is open, ser with abierto, okay? Bien, ok. Siguiente, meticuloso. ¿Quién tiene que ser muy meticuloso? Who has to be very meticulous?
I'll try.
Mi hermano es meticuloso porque es abogado.
Sí.
Mhm.
Es un trabajo que requiere que la persona sea meticulosa. Sí, un abogado es meticuloso. ¿Qué más? Who else?
I'll go. Una cirujana tiene que meticuloso.
Oh, sí, cirujana, sí, surgeon. Es muy importante. Con muchos médicos, con muchos doctores, es importante ser meticuloso. Tiene que ser, has to be, tiene que ser meticuloso. Ok, ¿quién más?
I can give you one.
Bueno.
If this works. Mi hermano Jerry es muy meticuloso. Él es un banquero, y es muy meticuloso con su dinero.
Con el dinero, sí. Okay. Sí, meticuloso. Es posible ser meticuloso con el dinero, ser meticuloso con la preparación de la comida, ser meticuloso con limpiar. Sí, hay muchos ejemplos de ser meticuloso, ¿sí?
Sí.
Bueno, otras ideas con... ¿quién tiene que ser muy meticuloso? Who has to be very meticulous?
La profesora de español.
Sí, Eso es. Muchas veces sí, tengo que ser muy meticulosa. Sí, a veces es verdad, sí. Mi esposo es muy meticuloso porque él es programador de software. Y porque él escribe programas, para programadores. Wow, qué complicado. How complex is it? Es complicado. He writes software for programmers. Y sí, es muy difícil. Sí, es muy, 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 muy meticuloso. Es muy meticuloso. Ok. Bueno, otra idea con ser meticuloso. Any other idea with meticuloso? Sí.
I actually have a question about the phrase in this question, tiene que ser. Would that phrase or with the verb tiene, tener, does that get conjugated depending on the noun in there? Like if I were to answer, actually I had the same one before, el cirujano, but if I were to say los cirujanos, would that require instead of tiene que ser, tienen que ser?
Buena pregunta, muy buena pregunta. Sí, tú tienes razón. You are right. Y voy a mostrar. I'm going to show you what he is talking about in case you're kind of mentally puzzling over that. Because sometimes we have to see it written out as well, and that helps us to kind of put two and two together, right? Sí, bien. Okay. Por ejemplo, he said, if we want to put all the people in this category together, what happens with that? Tiene que ser, has to be. So the example is los cirujanos, surgeons, meaning all people who do surgery, right? Not just one surgeon, but all surgeons. Los cirujanos tienen que ser meticulosos. Los cirujanos tienen que ser meticulosos. And the part that would have to be conjugated here would be the tienen part. Tienen que ser. They have to be. If I just talked about one surgeon, right, in particular, then that word tienen would go to a singular form. El cirujano tiene que ser meticuloso. Okay, so we conjugate the tener part of that phrase. Tienen que ser, have to be. Tienen que ser, tiene que ser, tengo que ser, I have to be. Así. Bien. Okay, buena pregunta, ¿sí? Does that answer your question, Mark? ¿Eso sí?
Sí.
Sí, fantástico. Ok, a ver. Siguiente. Honrados. ¿Quiénes son muy honrados? Or we could have actually, why did I make that plural? No sé, I don't know. Perhaps I just wanted you to practice your plurals. No recuerdo. If we don't have anything really, really broad, we could say ¿quién? ¿Quién? Oye. ¿Quién es muy honrado? To make it singular, it would be that. ¿Quién es muy honrado? So we can talk about that as a singular or as a plural. ¿Quién es muy honrado?
Scandinavia, personas de Scandinavia.
Escandinavia.
Scandinavia.
Escandinavia.
Scandinavia.
Eso es. Muy bien. Es muy honrada. Muy honrada. Bueno. Ok. Otra idea. Another idea.
Se supone que las jueces son honorables. Honorables.
Honrados.
Las jueces.
Los jueces, judges. I will pop that in here since we're looking at this. Se supone que, se supone que, supposedly, los jueces. And jueces, but winds up looking like this in the plural. Jueces, judges. So if we're talking about one judge, it has to be with a Z at the end. El juez. Or if it were a female judge, see, la jueza. See, el juez. El jueza, I need to think about that. Sí, jueza. Okay. Bien. Okay. Sí. Los jueces son honrados. And yeah, see, this word is kind of a tricky word, honrado. We have to ignore the H. Honrado. Okay. Otra idea de honrado o honrados.
I'm going to try one. And Marilyn, I want extra credit for putting 3 of these adjectives in one sentence.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Soy franco y decisivo. Así cambié la pregunta pequeño. Los políticos no son muy honrados.
Many people say, muchos dicen que los políticos no son honrados. Hoy en día es gran problema que los jueces no son, o los políticos no son muy honrados. Sí, we can make it a no there too. Bueno, sí, honrado o no ser honrado. Ok, bien, fantástico. Hay otra idea.
I have one. Mark, you're going to like this. Jimmy Carter es un muy honrado, abierto y diplomático.
Una combinación, ¿sí? Bueno, el presidente que construyó casas con Habitat for Humanity, ¿sí? Bien, okay.
You get extra credit also.
Extra crédito. Okay. Otra idea con honrado. Any other idea with honrado?
Marilyn, on my example, when I looked it up a little bit, I always run it through something after I write it. It says honorables versus honorados.
That would be, okay, that is a synonym. Un sinónimo. So just as in English, we might have more than one word that people will plug in. So people in English, another word that people might plug in really instead of honrado is sincero. Sincere. People will plug that in to convey the same idea. So, sí. Honorable, sí, that works too. I wanted you to stick with the ones we had underlined for use, but of course, yes, you can plug in other things there as well. Okay, vale. Hay otra idea con honrado. Any other idea with honrado?
Honrado.
¿Alguien tiene un mecánico honrado? Anybody got an honest mechanic?
Sí.
Para los carros, ¿Sí? ¿No? Ah, quién sabe. Es difícil. Es difícil. Ok. Bueno, siguiente. ¿Quién no es muy cortés? Who is not very courteous? We threw a negative in here.
Algunos conductores no son muy corteses.
Algunos conductores, conductores. Some drivers, Kai. Tienes razón, you are right. Algunos conductores no son muy corteses. Así es, sí.
I have one. Don Rickles no estaba muy cortés.
Sí, muy famoso, un cómico muy famoso en los años 60, en los años 70. Sí, sí. ¿Algo más?
I have one. La niña no es cortés, que ella no dice gracias.
Una persona que no dice gracias no es cortés. Sí, sí, eso es. Bueno, ok, por ejemplo, los clientes, customers, los clientes que se llamaban Karens, sí, no son corteses. ¿Sí? ¿Bien? Bien. And notice that word cortés might need to be a plural, corteses, like conductores, drivers, corteses. We just put an ES at the end to make it more than one. So it doesn't get a masculine and feminine, but it does get a plural. Okay? Bueno. Okay. Siguiente. Next. Siguiente. Siguiente. Bien. Ok. A ver. ¿Quién en tu familia es muy diplomático? ¿Quién en tu familia es muy diplomático? En mi familia, mi hija es muy diplomática. ¿Sí? Mi hija es muy diplomática. ¿En tu familia hay alguien muy diplomático? ¿O no?
Soy,
Yo
soy-
tengo un hermano, Jerry, es muy diplomático.
Es muy diplomático, ¿ok? Y Dorothy.
sí, soy muy diplomática. Diplomática.
Bien, y diplomática. You change it to an app, talk about yourself. Excelente, excelente. Soy diplomática. Bueno, excelente. ¿Hay personas famosas que son diplomáticas? Are there any famous people who are diplomatic?
Henry Kissinger.
Yes.
Ok. Henry Kissinger es una persona diplomática. Sí, Henry Kissinger es diplomático. Es diplomático. Buen ejemplo, buen ejemplo. ¿Alguien más o no? ¿No? Siguiente, siguiente. Ok. Decisivo. Decisivo. No soy muy decisivo cuando. I'm not very decisive when. No soy muy decisivo cuando.
Grande, decisión.
Cuando. Oh, when I make a decision.
Grande, Decisions.
Cuando
No.
tengo, okay, so let's plug in a little
Yes.
verb and show you how to do it. Cuando tengo, when I have. Cuando tengo una decisión grande.
Sí. Ujú.
Does that make sense for you?
Yes.
It says sí. Cuando tengo
Cuando
una,
tengo
una
una
decisión
decisión grande.
grande, importante, sí. Una decisión con el dinero.
Sí.
Sí, algo importante. No soy muy decisivo cuando.
Es hora de cenar.
Ok, bien. Cuando es hora de, when it's time to. Perfecto, bien. Sí. No soy muy decisivo cuando.
I have one. La respuesta no importa.
Okay. When the answer is not a biggie.
Yeah.
Sí. Cuando no importa. Bien, bien. Excelente. Ok. Otra idea. No soy muy decisiva cuando vamos de comer a un restaurante. Cuando vamos a comer en un restaurante. A mí no me importa. Does not matter too much. And we're going to get into that importa thing next week. ¿Sí? Bien. Ok. Siguiente. No soy muy entusiasta sobre, I'm not very boom, enthusiastic about. No soy muy entusiasta sobre, por ejemplo, no soy muy entusiasta sobre el golf. Okay.
I'll go. No soy muy entusiasta sobre veo deportes en televisión.
Sobre ver deportes en la televisión. Watching sports on TV. Bueno, otra cosa.
Feel like I have to stand up for men now
Hey!
after those last answers. No soy muy entusiasta or entusiasto sobre el ballet.
Bien. See, now, but this is one of those odd words. It will stay entusiasta.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an oddball kind of word in that way. Okay. Okay. Bien. Okay. And I'm going to show you something a little bit different here to show you some examples with this word entusiasta. This one out of the whole group is a little bit of an oddball. You know how there are always those things that are kind of rule breakers? And this word entusiasta is definitely that way. And let me make this a little bigger so you can see it more easily. So let me show you something about entusiasta. And in the first place, it's a hard word to pronounce. Right? Because we have enthusiastic and we have a th, but we don't have that in Spanish. We have entusiasta or entusiasta. And let's take a look. And it is the same thing as saying fun. By the way, this is another one of those odd words that a lot of people, especially if they're very young, like in their 20s or 30s, some people will say, fun, F-A-N. Some people do adopt that word just so that it doesn't like hit you out of the blue. But entusiasta means an admirer, a fan. I'm not a big fan of, I'm not a big enthusiast. Okay. And look at how this is used. Los entusiastas, and it's los entusiastas. Look at how odd that is. Yeah. Los entusiastas esperaban al equipo frente al hotel. Pedro es un entusiasta. Even though Pedro is a guy, it still goes into entusiasta form. Just so you know, this word entusiasta does not flip-flop. It may be plural, but it doesn't flip-flop into masculine, feminine. I cannot tell you why. It just is that way. It is an oddball word, but it is kind of an often used word. Pedro es un entusiasta de los Rolling Stones. He is a Stones fan. Okay. So the fans are waiting in front of the team. So it would be los entusiastas. But if we're talking about one guy, it stays entusiasta. So it's an odd word. Okay. Bien. On this list, it's one of the words that is one of the oddest ones on the list in that way. It stays entusiasta, or we can make it plural. Okay. No soy muy entusiasta. I'm going to talk about my husband to stand up for men because I think this is often true. And this is fair game. Mi esposo no es entusiasta de las películas de amor. Mi esposo no es entusiasta de las películas de amor. Es normal, ¿no? Yo creo que es muy normal. Es normal. Es muy normal. Okay. Any other ideas here? No soy muy entusiasta.
I have one. No soy muy entusiasta sobre limpiando mi casa.
Oh, sí. Sí. De limpiar la casa. Sí, eso es. Buena respuesta. Good answer. Otra idea.
No soy entusiasta sobre color tiempo este verano.
El calor del verano. Sí, eso es. Mi esposo es gran entusiasta del calor del verano. Qué locura, ¿no? Qué locura, qué locura, qué locura. Bueno, sí, ¿verdad? 100 grados, qué maravilloso. Yo no soy entusiasta del calor del verano aquí en Arizona. Bien. Otra idea with entusiasta.
No soy muy entusiasta sobre tarea.
Otra vez, and there again, Dorothy?
Tarea.
Tarea, homework.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sí. Otra vez, normal, muy normal, muy normal. No soy muy entusiasta sobre o de la tarea. Muy normal, muy normal. Otra idea. No soy muy entusiasta de la comida, de la comida Thai. De la comida tailandesa. No soy muy entusiasta sobre la comida tailandesa. Así es, ¿sí? Bien. Ok. Otra
have
idea.
one. Sí.
Bien.
No soy muy entusiasta sobre cerveza cálida.
Sí, warm beer.
Yes.
Caliente, sí, 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 es así. Pero es común en Inglaterra, ¿no?
Sí,
Común en
sí,
Inglaterra. Y aquí en Estados Unidos, no. La cerveza fría es muy importante Aquí. Bien.
Bien.
Bueno, también, mi esposo no es muy entusiasta de bebidas alcohólicas. Mi esposo no es muy entusiasta de las bebidas alcohólicas. Así es, ¿ok? Bien, mi esposo no es muy entusiasta de la comida dulce, sweet foods, de la comida dulce. No es muy entusiasta. Bien, ok. Mi esposo no es entusiasta sobre el café. El café. No, no, no le gusta el café. Ok. Otra idea con entusiasta. Anything else with entusiasta? ¿No? Bien. Ok. Siguiente. Una persona famosa que es audaz. Audaz. A famous person who is audaz. Bold, daring, boom, out there. Una persona famosa que es audaz.
Evil Knievel era una persona audaz.
Bien, sí, Evel Knievel. If you're of a certain age, you would remember Evel Knievel jumping, right? With that, con la moto, with a motorcycle, con la moto, saltando, jumping, saltando sobre como 20 carros, algo así, ¿sí? Saltando por el Gran Cañón, jumping over the Grand Canyon, all these crazy stunts, right? ¿Sí? Okay. Una persona audaz, and audaz, like Cortés, will stay audaz. Ok, ¿qué más? Una persona audaz.
Madonna es audaz.
Madonna es una persona muy audaz. Sí, sí. Eso es. Bien, bien. ¿Qué más? Otra idea.
Everyone, una persona famosa que es audaz, Joey Logano, un conductor de NASCAR.
Un conductor de NASCAR. Sí, es una persona audaz. Sí, eso es. Muy bien, muy bien. Ok. ¿Algo más? Anything else? ¿Sí o no? Siguiente. Siguiente. Ingenioso. ¿Qué profesión necesita alguien ingenioso? What profession needs somebody who's ingenious? Ingenioso. Resourceful.
Los astronautas necesitan ingeniosos.
Sí, los astronautas necesitan ser ingeniosos. Sí, sí, buena respuesta. Astronautas son ingeniosos. Bueno, fantástico. ¿Qué más?
Los profesores
Ujú.
necesitan alguien ingenieroso todos los días.
Ingenioso, sí, ayuda mucho. That helps a lot, sí. Bien, bien. Un buen mecánico, necesita ser ingenioso. Un buen mecánico es ingenioso, ¿no?
Sí.
Sí, si no tiene la parte exacta, un buen mecánico es ingenioso. Ingenioso puede adaptar. ¿Sí? Bueno, algo más. Anything else? ¿Sí o no?
I have one. Los profesores tienen que ser ingeniosos para enseñar a los niños.
Ay, sí, con los niños, sí. Hay que ser ingenioso. You gotta be kind of a resourceful person with little kids. Con los niños. Bueno, ok. A ver, otra idea con ingenioso. ¿O no? Ok. Versátil, versatile. Un ejemplo de una cosa versátil. An example of a versatile thing. A device, a thingy that is versátil. Algo. O una persona, or a person.
I'll go. Un ejemplo de una cosa versátil es una cuchara, porque se puede utilizar para mezclar o comer o sopa o
Sí,
medir.
sí, ok, buena idea. Una cuchara, a spoon, una cuchara es versátil. Se puede usar para sí, revolver, para comer sopa, para comer helado, ¿sí? Con muchos platos distintos. Bien, bien, fantástico. Ok, ¿algo más?
Mi
Oh.
teléfono.
Otra vez, Dorothy, ¿sí?
Mi teléfono.
Es muy versátil. Sí, un celular es muy, muy versátil. Sí. Se usa para el calendario, se usa para calcular, se usa para llamar a las personas. Un celular es muy, muy, muy versátil. Fantástico. Marcos, ¿tienes algo?
I had the same thought,
Oh.
cell phone.
Okay.
Sí. Bien.
The iPad. You see.
Sí, una tabla, sí. Es versátil porque se puede usar para leer libros,
Sí.
se puede usar para Zoom.
Mi cámara.
Como cámara, sí, se puede usar con el cámara o con la cámara. Perfecto, perfecto, muy versátil. Excelente, excelente. Ok, otra idea con versátil.
I have one.
Ok.
Una enfermera tiene que ser muy versátil, versátil porque cada paciente tiene necesidades diferentes.
Ok, bien, muy
Like you
bien.
got that one?
Sí, sí, sí. Está bien, está bien. Ok, otra idea. Muy bien, muy bien. Hay otra idea con versátil. Okay, we're going to, I'm going to give you a little, I'm going to give you a little listening comprehension video, and I'll just show you what he looks like so you know that you've got the right link. He's going to look like that. He's got a silly hat on kind of for a reason, He's going to use some past, but as you can see, this is very nice in that even if they use some past tense ideas, you won't have to think real hard because there's a subtitle below. But they're going to use one of our words from today's list, the word ingenioso. Ingenioso, you're going to hear in the title because it's in the title of a book. And actually, you'll see another one of those description words with an OSO. And well, okay. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil the thing. He's going to talk about a particular book, which is kind of like the quintessential every kid who lives in Latin America winds up reading this book at some time in their life. I don't know if we have anything in the English language, maybe stuff by Shakespeare. You know how when you're a student in English class, you have to read Shakespeare, you have to read, who else do you have to read? A lot of yeah. Okay. There's certain things that are considered classic. There is one thing that all kids who study in Latin America, they have to read it. And they'll probably read it as an adaptation. And you will see why, because he's going to show you how thick the book is. So little kids, but even little kids wind up having to read this book. And the word ingenioso is going to come up in the title. So you're going to listen to that for your listening comprehension, and he's going to go nice and slow for you. But we're going to review something next week. And some of you who are newer people to the class, I'm going to give you pages out of this book to look at before next week, because it's something we haven't used a lot for you folks. But the rest of you will recognize it. We're going to seg to, again, using gustar. So I'm going to do a quick preview about using gustar. There are certain verbs, and actually some of you used one of their verbs that is like gustar today in one of your examples, and that was importar. We're going to look at gustar. Certain verbs like gustar wind up being kind of, I don't want to say false friends, but we don't use them the way you would expect. Gustar, which really means to be pleasing, often comes up as, we translate it as like, but it doesn't really mean like, it means to be pleasing. So we're going to use gustar and some verbs that are like gustar. And I'm going to single out a few key words, key verbs that are like gustar that we wind up using a lot. And you'll have some examples to practice with that. I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. So gustar really means be pleasing. And we're going to take a look at gustar and verbs that operate like gustar does. But you are used to conjugating verbs for yo and tú and él y a usted and nosotros and ellos y a ustedes. And gustar does not generally do that. It does not. Gustar uses only two forms most of the time. So gustar, in most cases, it can go into a yo form, but that is only in very specific circumstances. Most of the time when we use this verb gustar, we only use it as gusta or gustan. So instead of using yo with gustar, we use me with gustar. So you wind up saying a thing is pleasing to me, or those things, more than one of them, they are pleasing to me. So we will not conjugate gustar for yo or tú or nosotros. It's going to get two conjugations, and the little pronoun in front of it tells who likes something. So we'll use it this way. Me gusta, to say you like a thing that is singular, it is one thing, or to talk about liking an activity, doing something, okay? And to say that you like things, a whole category of things, then we use me gustan, all right? To say you like something, it has to wind up being used as te gusta, you like one thing, or te gustan, you like more than one thing, right? Le gusta means that he likes or she likes, and le gustan to say that the thing that is liked is more than one, okay? the pronoun we combine with that to say we like is nos gusta. The only other form you're going to hear people use is nos gustan, we like. And that's we like if we like a plural group of things. And then the last combination is le gusta or le gustan. Okay, so you're going to hear these combinations. Bien, okay. Let's skip through here. So, por ejemplo, for example, we use gusta for one thing, the thing that is pleasing. Yeah, if it's one thing, it's me gusta. You'll never hear people using me gusta. That just sounds icky and weird. Okay, me gusto, if I use it with yo, would mean I am pleasing to myself, which is just a very weird and icky idea. So it's always got to be me gusta or me gustan, right? Me gusta la música, I like music. Te gusta la comida picante, you like spicy food. Le gusta la ropa nueva, le gusta el café. Or les gusta, le gusta el café, les gusta el otoño, nos gusta Mexico. We like Mexico. So notice, it doesn't matter if we, a bunch of people, like something. That gusta stays singular if it's the thing that is liked is singular. If the thing that is liked is singular, it is gusta. If the thing that is liked is singular, it's gusta. If the thing that is liked, new clothing, is singular, it's gusta. If the thing that is liked, comida picante, spicy food, is singular, it's gusta. If the thing that is like música is singular, it's gusta. Okay? So the who likes it is expressed by these pronouns. Me, te, for you like, le, for one person likes, he or she, yeah. That word le doesn't get a gender connotation to it. Les to say they like, and nos to use to say we like. Okay, bien. If we want to talk about liking an activity, whether it's one activity or a whole bunch of activities, then we also use gusta, singular. So an activity will be an infinitive. Montar. If it's more than one infinitive, it's still gusta. Okay? Te gusta leer y escribir. You like reading and writing, okay? Anytime we talk about doing stuff, liking doing stuff, it's gusta, singular. So I'll send you those examples to look at. And so when do we use gustan? We use gustan when the things that are liked is a plural group, okay? Something that is plural. Me gustan las naranjas. I like oranges. Te gustan las flores. You like flowers. Okay. Le gustan los animales. He or she likes animals, right? Le gustan los postres. Or les gustan los postres, perdón. Les gustan los postres. They like desserts. Or it could mean you guys like desserts, right? Nos gustan las fiestas. We like parties. We like all kinds of parties, no matter what kind of party it is. Nos gustan las fiestas. So if the thing that is liked is plural, it has to be the conjugation of this verb has to be gustan. It's a little pronoun in front that tells who likes something. And I'm going to send you some videos to think about that. Yeah. One last thing I have to plug in here for you. Perdón, I forgot this one last thing. Le or les. I'm waiting for that. There we go. Because le or les is so fuzzy, It could be a guy, it could be a girl. We don't really know. If from context you don't know, you may hear somebody add a little phrase, and this is a clarifying phrase. A Tomás le gusta el pollo. If saying le gusta el pollo is not clear enough, right? If I really need to say Tom, he likes chicken, yeah? Then I'll have to add the idea of Tom with a Tomás. And it will generally lead off that whole idea. A Tomás le gusta, right? I cannot say Tomás le gusta. It has to be a Tomás le gusta. Okay? If we mean a formal you for le gusta, because le can be used for usted also, it has to be a usted le gusta. Okay? Bien? There are a few other verbs that behave like gustar. And the ones we're going to practice a few of those next week. There'll be verbs like importar, matter, okay, or interesar, interest. And these are verbs that are going to behave like gustar means. And that means they're going to take a singular form and a plural form. And they're going to use those little pronouns, me, or te, or le, or les, or nos. Okay, bien? And I'm going to give you, where in this book, if you've got this book, as a group of folks in this group have used this book, where it shows you how those are used. So we're going to have some conversation questions with those. Okay, todo bien? For next week? Bien?
Gracias.
Bien.
Gracias.
Excelente. Eso y todo. That's it for today. Bien. ¿Está bien? We're good?
Está bien.
Okay, fantastico. We're going to go through all things with like, but it really doesn't mean like, it means to be pleasing. And some other verbs that we use a lot that behave like that verb, gustar, as well. Okay, eso es todo. That's it for today. Nos vemos la semana que viene. See you next week, ¿sí?
Sí.
Sí.
Excelente. Nos vemos más tarde. See you guys later. Que tengan buena semana. Have a good week.